And there you see the handshake. Our top seed, Tim Criss, taking on a very hot Brian Voss in the championship match. And Tim Criss up first, 31-year-old from Bel Air, Maryland. His wife, Sherry, in attendance. Marshall, they travel from tournament to tournament in their lovely motorhome.
And what a nice way to start.
And that is $1,000 to the PBA Tour Foundation, courtesy of Budweiser, after the strike from Tim Criss. And Brian Voss now up in lane one. Brian, hot on this pair, Marshall. Do you think that's a disadvantage for Tim Criss or not?
Well, it generally should be, but Criss got that good break in the first frame. That could loosen him up. But Brian Voss, he should have things going his way, but maybe the commercial break took a little air out of his sails as he comes in high.
And leaves the 3-6-10. And you have often mentioned about that's the hardest shot in a match, the shot after a commercial break.
Well, when you've been sitting for a while, if you do lose your rhythm a little bit. Right now, Brian Voss must forget about it and just make this spare the 3-6-10. Fortunately, the 9-pin's not there, so you don't have to worry about a sleeper, Brian.
Follow all your favorite sports and get updated scores and stats on the net. CBS Sportsline has exclusive columns and video highlights, plus interviews, chats, and more. Go to cbs.sportsline.com.
You know, as you take a look at the records of these two great players, Brian Voss with 18 titles and Tim Criss with 2. That's another nod in Brian's favor.
And another strike for Brian Voss as well. Strikes in frame number 2, and Tim Criss working on a strike in the first will be up in the second frame. By the way, our TV pair today, lanes 35 and 36, and right now Tim Criss up on lane 36. And there you see how Tim did.
They made that big charge last night, Jerry, to get the lead in with a big charge with his ball right there to take a 10-pin lead in this match. So maybe we can throw away the advantage for Brian. Take a look at Tim Criss. He throws the ball slow. He throws a lot of turn, hooks the ball into the pocket. That's the comfortable delivery and release for Tim Criss.
So Tim Criss starting out with a couple of strikes, looking for a 3-bagger now as he moves over to lane 35. A die-hard Oriole fan. And a solid strike from Tim Criss. So he has opened things up with a 3-bagger.
Great shot from Tim on the left-hand lane. We'll take a look once again. Watch the ball as it sails to the right and then hooks hard in the back end. And a happy Tim Criss with 3 in a row. Feeling better about his bowling than he is about his Orioles. Gotta hurry.
And Brian Voss answers as well, and you could see how elated and animated he was over that strike.
Well, you always have a better reaction on a shot that's fortunate. Right now, Brian's ball is a little bit light, but ooh, it just carried.
And Brian Voss now on lane 35 in the 4th frame. There you see our scoreboard. So right now, Voss down by 10 as Tim Criss has been perfect through 3.
To even up the match. Stop it. That ball just at the last minute, it looked like it was creeping high, but it's set up in the pocket. Stopped hooking and was able to knock them all down.
And Marshall, it appears that both bowlers now, Brian Voss, we know, is hot on this pair earlier, and Tim Criss has not been affected by waiting for the winner of the shootout round.
Well, you'd think he'd be a little bit intimidated by that gentleman right there, but not as yet.
Oh, sensational.
4 strikes in a row for Tim Criss, and just not paying any attention to the opposition, just taking care of his own business as Brian sits and waits for his opportunity to get back up and throw some more strikes.
If either bowler strikes here in the 5th frame, $1,000 will be donated to the PBA Tour Foundation, courtesy of Budweiser. And that's where we are, frame number 5. Tim Criss working on 4. Brian Voss working on 3 consecutive strikes. Well, $1,000, 5 in a row, and $1,000 more for the PBA Tour Foundation, courtesy of Budweiser. Tim Criss unaffected right now, apparently, by the pressure. He's been on the PBA Tour 14 years, only has 2 national titles, but is bowling as well as you can bowl right now. Again, I'll tell you what, PBA Tour Foundation picks up another $1,000 courtesy of Budweiser after that strike from Brian Voss.
Brian Voss keeping the pressure on with that strike. He cut the deficit from 20 down to 10 with a strike here in the 6th frame to make it an even ball game. And all Tim Criss can do is just sit there and feel good about that 5 in a row. I would.
Well, 10 pins down for Brian Voss, and if he's going to make it even, and if we should wind up even after 10 frames, Marshall, as we said earlier, sudden death, single ball roll-off will determine the winner of this tournament. Oh, my.
Oh, what a tough blow for Brian Voss as he leaves the 3, 4, 6, and the 7. Right now, his ball's going right through the heart, and he does not get the good break. You see the 3-6 on the right-hand side, the 4-7 on the left, and what did I just do? A split that can be made. Get the ball to the right-hand side of the 3, slide it over, but in the channel.
Well, nothing for Brian Voss, and that may indeed leave the door open for Tim Criss, the top seed in the Johnny Petraglia Open. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open. There you see our score of the championship match. Tim Criss perfect through 5. And talking about perfect, 2 weeks ago in Reno, Parker Bowe in the 3rd bowled a 300 game. It was not in the championship game. It was in the shootout round. And Tim Criss through 5 today is perfect in the championship game. I'll tell you what, Marshall, 300 could be on the horizon for him.
Right now, business. Get the shot in the 6th frame off your hand. Throw a strike and 10 more pin lead. That's exactly what he did.
Well, if Tim Criss rolls a 300 game in the championship match, he will receive a $1 million bonus courtesy of the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center in Las Vegas.
And all he has to do is throw 6 more shots that look something like that.
Piece of cake, right?
Yeah, maybe for him. Brian Voss right now trying to win for the 12th year in a row. Ooh. And Brian Voss just received a gift from Tim Criss as Tim leaves a difficult split. Ball coming in light. 6 pin goes around the 10. Head pin goes around the 2, 4, 8. Now, this can be made, but it is extraordinarily difficult. As you can see, Tim sees the fact that the ball's not coming up. Goodbye $1 million and hello match. He's going for it.
Next Saturday, the battle begins for one of the crown jewels of amateur sports when CBS Sports presents first-round action at the NCAA College World Series. LSU looking to make it a 3rd consecutive College World Series championship coming up next Saturday. Well, there you see a look at the score. And an open for Tim Criss.
And it's down to a 24-pin lead. And Brian Voss, great shot.
Solid. And a solid 10.
Solid 10. We've seen a few of those today.
Marshall, why was this a great shot? The solid 10 is there. What made this a great shot?
Well, he got it off his hand the way he wanted to. Watch the ball charge back solid in the pocket. Anytime you can hit solid in the pocket, that's all you can do as a bowler is make the shot. Sometimes the pins do not respond. But certainly a good recovery from the previous frame when